Welcome, welcome, welcome. You are joining us on the Unhinged radio show live, y'all. We are here once again with our illustrious host, the Miss Tilted Halo of the Halos.
Hey, I'm of the Halo tribe, girl.
Yes, it's a whole time. Listen, should I say the original woman king? Come through, come on.
I'm the original Tilted Tribe member, the creator, the originator of all of shenanigans that take place here on the Unhinged radio show live. Thank you so much for that introduction, Karen Sims of Twisted Threads. We're in the building, and guess what, y'all? We're back. That's right. We know we've had you all waiting for us to get back on a weekly rotation schedule. Well, we here. You know, life happened. This one here done fell in love, and she got a ring on it. And I'm just out here building media empires. And this is what happens when life happens and change is good. You're looking mighty fabulous tonight, my sister.
I'm trying to keep up with supporting the sunshine. Plus, I know you were in your yellow this past weekend, so really just trying to keep the sunshine flowing on this side, like you doing on your side. So
that's right. I'm out here Septembering appropriately because in case y'all didn't know, let me make the announcement via this live broadcast. September is Tilted Halo's birthday month. That's right. I'll say it again. It is my birthday month. And those of you who know me personally know I might celebrate from 4 to 6 to sometimes maybe even 8 weeks. Because, for a long time, I was that woman who didn't take the time to celebrate herself because I was always so busy putting my children and my husband during my season of being a wife. I would put everybody ahead of me and made sure everybody was celebrated. So the year I separated, your girl established some new traditions for herself. And every single year, every single September, I'm something like Carmen Sandiego. You never know where I might show up. So enough about that. All right. We're going to go ahead and give you a brief rundown of the show and excuse me, I'm stuttering. It's been a while. That's what happens when I get excited. Y'all already know. We're going to refamiliarize you all with what's going to be taking place on tonight's show. I know y'all saw that wonderful video advertisement your girl was able to post up earlier alongside my good girlfriend, Karen Sims. And I want to say thank you to tonight's guest for lending us her graphical expertise and just rejudging that flyer of ours just a little bit. So I let the cat out of the bag. Tonight's guest, of course, you already know, is the wonderful Zion the Voice. But before we hear from our guests, y'all know we're going to get into it. And we're going to engage those wonderful segments that you all have come to know and love. We're going to get into a little bit of Merrily Down the Stream. Honey, we're also going to share a view or two, or 3 maybe, from the Petty Pew. And of course, we're going to get into that segment, that roundtable segment where we discuss it all. What's really going on? And of course, we'll tie up the show to make sure that you all experience sleep that is restful, restorative, and causes you to wake up tomorrow morning with a new little pep in your step. A reflection of purpose by our very own in-house master life coach, the beautiful Miss Karen Sims of Twisted Threads. So I think I hear a knock on the door, Karen.
Somebody knocking?
I think they knocking. You think I should let them in? Because
I think she might be ready for the let in of the let in.
I think she we kind of vetted her. She good people. I think I'll let her in.
Who is that knocking?
What's happening, people? How y'all doing tonight?
We're doing great. Even better than now that you're in the room. Welcome to the Unhinged radio show live, sis. How was your day?
My day was very interesting. Just had a chance to just kind of do some processing. So it was good overall. How was you guys' day?
It's been fabulous. We've been out here shining. You already know Karen has not only one flower in her hair today. It seems that our sister is wearing the garden.
Come on, girl.
You know, it's an interesting thing because I'm in recovery. I spent last week with was it the last week and a half? I don't even remember now. With doing the Mimi tour with my 10 grandchildren. And so literally
Mimi tour?
Yeah, so my grandchildren call me Mimi.
Oh,
and so
okay.
I went on through all the towns I could find in Pennsylvania with somebody who is legacy and offspring, and poured in, prayed up, all of those things. Forgot my oil, and my son was like, "I knew for sure you was gonna." Well, listen, I'm gonna send the oil. So when the oil get here, here's where the oil needs to go. So they got assignments now since I forgot my stuff, but I'm just blessed. I have 3 beautiful granddaughters and 7 grandsons, all of that. And 7 who are 5 and 7, 8 of them are 5 and under. So listen, I'm here to enforce all adult nap times forever. That's what I'm doing right now.
Yeah. Nap time is a ministry that we recognize here at the Unhinged radio show, Zion, in case you didn't know.
Okay, it's a priority.
It's a priority.
I understand.
And somewhat of a necessity so that we keep the body count low, as Karen Sims of Twisted Threads often said.
A good nap will keep you off somebody. I promise you. Listen. It will. It'll keep your mind right. You get that discernment. The Lord could whisper instead of yell at you, and you get to make it through the rest of the day. Look at this one here. Here we go. Red cup. You see what God unleashed?
I might as well get ready because tonight's going to be an amazing conversation with our guest tonight. You all already hear us. The love is always so very, very real here on the platform. And I don't want to belabor the hour because I'm kind of like hosting tonight's guest on a little bit of borrowed time. And I want to make sure that we're able to engage you in the body of the show on tonight. So Zion, we're not gonna hesitate. We're just gonna go on and get into your interview. Is that okay?
That's fine with me.
All right.
I'm good.
I just want to give you all a brief introduction. I've had the honor of following tonight's guest for quite a few months now. Shout out to our girlfriend, Simply Free of Simply Free Little Talk, who is the great connector all the way from Galveston, Texas. She's out there doing the thing, y'all. She is doing it way big. And I'm absolutely grateful that she never hesitates to acknowledge her sisters here on the East Coast. Of course, y'all know that would be myself and Karen. So shout out to you, Free, for being the connector. And also a huge shout out again to our sister, Tan Tate. The 5 of us together create the Eagleship Sisters. And again, tonight's guest, the wonderful Miss Zion the Voice. I was captivated one night listening to her share the depths of her testimony. And when I tell you, she is not only a lover of God, she is a doer of his word. And my sis be out here in these streets doing the thing in the name of the kingdom. So we're going to get right on into it. My first question for you tonight, Zion, is where did you grow up? Where are you from? And what was it like growing up there?
Wow. All right. So if I say baby, does that give you a clue of where I'm from?
Nah, it was a Monday on a Tuesday for me.
Most of the time when you hear somebody say baby, you know that they're from New Orleans. They're from the 504. And so naturally in New Orleans, born, bred. And what it was like growing up in New Orleans, it was never a dull moment. I mean, from the music that you would hear in the streets, you would always, something would be going on the block. So it was pretty interesting just to grow up, but you were always exposed to many different cultures at one time. And so that was the dopest part about growing up in New Orleans for me, the music and the culture.
Yes. definitely the music and all of the culture. I've got to share what Karen and I, along with our friend Tanya, we hit Nolan's.
Minister Sexy. Minister Sexy. Sorry. I call it Red Cup of Ham.
The first year we ventured down there because Prince was the headliner at this festival for July, and I just had to be there. So I kind of instigated a girlfriend's trip that year. And it's hot down there, Zion. And some unnatural heat. I don't know. How did you survive the heat in New Orleans as a youth?
Hey, it's called hucklebucks. I mean, y'all call them frozen covers, but we call them hucklebucks. You know, the candy lady, she had hucklebucks in the freezer. So we always had a hucklebuck on deck. You heard me? So that's how we survived the summer.
What was your color? Not flavor, but color. What was your color?
Yes.
Blue coconut. That was my favorite color. Yes. And then the red Kool-Aid, but it had to be with the gumballs in it or the fruit at the bottom. You don't know nothing about
that. Candy lady was the bomb because we just got basic with the extra sugar at the bottom of the cup.
That part. Okay.
You didn't get no gumballs and fruits.
She didn't make it right. She didn't make it right.
She didn't make it. And you know, I gotta call out Tilted because when we was out there in them streets, you know, we were Eagle Ship sisters at that time too. So we were praying in the streets. But Tilted was the caffeine police and made sure that we stay hydrated. She was like, nope, we can't have no soda, we can't have no tea. I promise you, it was
y'all pass out
all day. She was like, y'all not passing out. You will drink this water and let it anoint you all the way up and down the street.
From the inside out.
The inside out. So.
Yes, I believe in proper hydration at all times.
Yeah, y'all just caught a hot summer. That's all.
I don't know, because we went back a couple of years. It was still hot when we went.
And I decided y'all not bringing me nowhere with this level of heat unless I could dip my toe into some icy blue water, okay?
Okay. Well, you can't do that in New Orleans. You might come back with no toes.
It's gators down there, ain't it?
It's gators. You might come back with no toes. So no,
okay, you're gonna give us the survival guide because it's gonna be something. So yeah, we'll try a different time of the year because it was like right in the midst of July, you know, for July 4th, I think both of those times. So we just really understood that we missed that assignment. We should not be in New Orleans in July because apparently there's a different type of festival of heat going on down there that we gonna try it again another time of the year. That's all we can. So yeah,
you should try it around Christmas time. You know, Christmas time is really pretty. Yeah, you know, and they actually have it's called the Christmas Square or something like that. It's really dope. Wow. So you might want to try it around that time.
Right in December. You know, I'm looking for somewhere warm in December, so I appreciate that.
As long as it ain't no snow, we good.
Well, you know, the weather in New Orleans is schizophrenic, so I'm just gonna let you know you might you might
pray for the weather too, Lord.
Yeah.
So I need the North Face, a sleeveless, and some shorts, and just some like jeans and a long sleeve tee, maybe a hoodie.
Yes, and the umbrella.
And the umbrella, that's right, because my afro, you know, she likes water. I don't know. Anyway, let me get into
this question was supposed to be a simple question, Zion. And here we are on the Unhinged Radio that we done went from travel advice to hucklebucks to hydrated hair. Listen,
we are getting to know our guest on tonight. I have one more question because you are multifaceted. Like Clairol, in your hands, God has placed multiple gifts. And I need you to talk to me about the Rhema Empire.
Oh my goodness. I was just, I don't even know where to begin with Rhema Empire. I mean, Rhema Empire stemmed from the fact that it started from the fact of not seeing so many of us on the screen doing Christian things, but then as I began to like go into prayer and say, hey, God, I want to go ahead and start writing plays and stuff for the kingdom, um, he began to say to me, that it's not about black or white, it's about an actual whole. And so it became a conglomerate of different facets, like movies, short stories, plays, music, books, and so conferences, events. So I'm just super excited to be able to be trusted with um, these particular gifts, and it's not easy, but God makes it look easy. So
Yes, yes. I promise you, we already know, Karen and I have experienced when God has truly chosen you to do something. He has a way of making it seem so easy when it's you doing it. When more often than not, people are not familiar with the glitches that we deal with behind the scenes, as we do our best to present what it is that we do in excellence. So shout out to you for answering the call and accepting it, and upholding the banner of righteousness, as an exhibit of our faith, to people who don't necessarily understand why it is we choose to take our gifts and use them the way we do. I can imagine you've been, what is it? Uh, presented many opportunities, by many secular opportunities, to do, to practice your craft. Can I ask you why you remain steadfast and unmovable and always abounding in using your talents for the Lord?
um because the Lord has a way of shutting doors for you. He has a way of shutting doors for you, and He's like, "You're mine. You're chosen. You're called by me." And so I'm gonna go ahead and shut these doors. Like case in example, uh, Lauren Hill, getting the opportunity to meet them at the House of Blues. And the person that I was with at that moment was like, "Come on, let's go over to the table so you can rap for her." And I was nervous, shaking like a leaf. And she was the one that made me feel comfortable. She was like, "Come on, spit something for me." And I had to zone in on her because the other two people at the table was kind of nasty nice. And but I began to spit for her, and she literally took her number and wrote it down and said, "Call me, let's work together." Do you know, I went home, put that number down, and somebody threw it away.
Ooh.
I
But
got
I
you.
took but I took it as God blocking the door. And then the last time,
Every
right before
time.
stepping over into Christian hip hop, we was getting ready to sign a deal with Universal. And the Lord literally came and wrecked shop and was like, "Not today." But I'm grateful, because had I been in that, I I would probably be dead somewhere, or I would be strung out on somebody's drug or something like that.
Wow.
I love that you said what you just said, Zion, because, that has been my testimony, working in the entertainment industry most of my adult life. I, too, celebrate and appreciate every single door God closed for me, working as a professional plus model at one point, and having done work on Broadway, both on stage, off Broadway. And then on Broadway, working behind the scenes as a production assistant. We saw some stuff, and we were exposed to some stuff. And again, I'm grateful, that I was called before I even knew how to pronounce my own name, that I was able to recognize God's voice when He said, "Girl, don't do this for them. Do it for me first, and then I'll bless it. Bless it."
Come on. Come on.
So when you walk away from what man defines as fame,
Mm-hmm.
um, a lot of people truly don't understand the fullness of it all, and they really don't get to see what happens once the music stops and the curtain drops and all the people in the audience go home. What are those artists and talents getting into? And as a Christian artist, or performer myself, I've always wanted to have the trust of God first and foremost. So grateful for those doors and opportunities that he took off the table, so I could learn to love his people from a pure place. Or I wouldn't even be able to do this today.
Come on, pure place.
Yeah, it's a pure place in your heart. That's, hey, we gonna get into that. But before I keep going, Karen, do you have a question for tonight's guest?
You know, you hit on it a little bit with just that last question of speaking about the Rima Empire and the blessings that you have. Can you talk to us? And I know many of our viewers and listeners, they know they've been gifted in more than one area. So I'm going to speak. I'd love for us to speak to our multifaceted, talented group, and how you know when to do what. So knowing that you are talented on the graphics, on the writing, on the script, on the music, could break it down on the mic, how do you work through that many projects and knowing what's the now season for the administration of whichever gift God is saying, and we're going to highlight this portion for you?
That's a very good question. And so I just want to like encourage somebody, because that has been like a literal fight um, since discovering all these different gifts, right? And it's like, okay, you have this person pulling on that part and this person pulling on that part of the gift, but it may not be the timing or the season for that gift, right? And so what I begin to find out is that the way that I know, and my way may be different from how God would do it for you. The way that I know is that God will begin to literally give you confirmation over and over and over again. He'll give it to you in dreams. He'll give it to you in open visions. He'll give it to you while you're watching television. And it's like, now is the time that I need you to write a play, or now is the time that I need you to come out with another song, you know. And so that's the way that I begin to really understand when it was time for these particular gifts to be at work. So I just want to encourage somebody else. That may be how God may deal with you, but another way is to just really just take it to prayer and say, okay, God, like, you have to show me how to walk this thing out in seasons, and really be led by you, so that I don't use the right gift at the wrong time.
Come on now.
That's it. That's it. You know,
I knew I was gonna have a reason to bring both of these out at the same time.
Y'all need to pass me a cup. I mean, y'all got to.
That one for you. What? Come on now. I knew we was gonna have a double cup.
Yeah, some say get your red cup out tonight, because this is gonna be a conversation. It's gonna be a conversation, and I love what you just said immediately. You know, that brought me to my meditation on this morning. I was thinking about Solomon and how he was speaking about a time in a season for everything, right?
Yes.
And it's amazing, again, to me, how God is piecing us all together from varying parts of the country during this season, in this realm. Y'all, we flow in the prophetic circles, so we're always conscious of who's in our ear. And I promise you, all I keep hearing collectively across the board is this season where God is raising up Deborahs and Esthers, that will go and speak his truth their way. And so to reach people that can't necessarily be won by the churched folk, if that makes any sense. Now I'm using this as a segue to talk to you, Zion, about the most unusual trip you took with a couple of your compadres. You went on a missions trip. Can you talk to us about that?
So the missions trip was actually a setup. First of all, let me say the Holy Spirit will set you up. Going back into that whole season thing, like the season to be used in a certain area, and it really was a setup because I had given up on the extreme tour. I literally gave up. I was like, okay, I've applied so many times, and I'm not being chosen. So there was a post on Facebook. The guy didn't say anything about Extreme Tour. He was just looking for artists, and I was like, God, I know that you're calling me to get out there. So I did. And lo and behold, when I opened that email, guess what it said? Extreme Tour. And I was like, no, I'm not doing this. But it was like the Holy Spirit said, do it. This time it's going to open up for you. And as you can see, it did open up. So the actual trip itself was really an opportunity to really meet people where they were, to love on them where they were. And we found a lot of people that were leaving, that have left the church, and they were really just hungry for the things of God, but they didn't want to go back into a toxic environment. And so just having the opportunity to love on them, and many people that just had different things, life hit them in different ways, and be able to love on them. And so it was a blessing to me because it stretched my faith, it stretched my belief system in how we should actually be able to minister to people. And then it also stretched my faith in business to be able to see even the different facets on how they ran the Extreme Tour. So overall, it was a lesson, but it was a great lesson from the Holy Spirit.
All right. So you mentioned the lesson, brought an immediate question to mind. How did it grow you?
It grew me because I went through church hurt. And so in that church hurt, I went into a place of isolation. I went into a place where the only person I basically talked to was the hope coach and my sister. And so other than that, it was just straight up isolation. And so this went on for a minute. So to be on this tour with all these people with all these different personalities, it stretched me because it wasn't a black thing. We had white, we had Chinese, we had all kind of different people on this tour. So I'm having to now learn how to actually be around people again. So that was the one thing that stretched me. The other thing that stretched me was evangelism. They do it totally different than what we do, quote unquote, out here. And so I had to learn their way of how to do evangelism. And so that stretched me because I'm sitting up here like, I know we ain't doing evangelism like that. Now we can't do it like that. And the Holy Spirit like, nah, chill. I need you to chill. Let's just do it this way. And in this, I'm teaching you something. And so that was another stretch for me. And then also, it was late hours. We would get in at 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Sometimes we wouldn't wrap up the day, and we have to be right back up at 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock just to go into the next phase. So it was really a lot of stretching.
Well, from what I was able to keep up with, because you share quite a bit as you all was out there in the mission streets. And I promise you, I enjoyed every moment. It was almost as if I was there with you, because I have a huge heart for taking it to the streets and for missions in general. Some of us asked to be chosen, right? Yeah. So when you go, you got to lean and rock with whatever scenario you find yourself standing in. So you again, we keep talking about all these gifts and all these talents that God has blessed you with. Let's get into the music. You got bars, girl. You got all the bars in Jesus' name.
I receive all the bars in Jesus' name.
Hallelujah.
But it's him, like, if anybody came in a writing session, they'd be like, man, this chick is thrown off because now I'm high fiving the Holy Spirit and everything. Like, it's just a whole party. So yeah. But
yes. So you just started sharing. Well, I'm like, how do you draw your inspiration when you're in those writing sessions? What goes down when you got pen and you need to put it to pad and come up with some music, girl? What goes down?
So the inspiration really just comes from things that I see. Like I really believe that, and I think we probably get into this later. Some of the things that we're getting ready to, that we're seeing in arts and entertainment industry, it grieves me. And so, coming and really just checking those things. But just at the point of the matter, like at the end of the day, the inspiration is just like, okay, God, what do you want me to write about? When I get into a session, and it's like, okay, let's talk about this. So those sessions look like I just told you, like dapping the Lord off, like, nah, God, like why we can't write it like this? Just having that. It looks like Tyler Perry said it best one time. He said, "You never want to be with me in the room while I'm writing the play because it sounds like 4 and 5 people talking at one time." And that's how it kind of looks in the writing session. It is just me and the Holy Spirit talking back and forth because I'm trying to write what He wants me to write, and then getting excited when the bars are like, yeah. So it's just one of those things.
Well, you drops hot fire like Dylon, sis. I must tell you, and the fire you're dropping is very anointed. And I promise you, if y'all go on out here to these streaming outlets and download her music and support her and listen to what she's doing, because I promise you, y'all know her now. While we got immediate, instant access to her. But I promise you, there's going to come a day soon where I'm not going to be able to say Zion and she jump right on. I might have to make an appointment 2-3 weeks.
Oh, come on, man.
But I got the number saved, so ain't nobody going to throw it away on me. That's what so I'm gonna need to back it up on the cloud or something, because sometimes ain't no telling I'll still have his phone, but we gonna keep all these contacts. That part.
That's right. Shout out to Google Universe.
all of the clouds. All of the clouds on the internet.
So before we end this segment, because we got a lot of ground to cover, Zion, thank you so much again for joining us tonight for this conversation. Can you tell our listeners where they can find your music and where they can find and follow you on social media?
So it's Zion the Voice on all social media platforms. You can actually find the music on Apple. You can find it on iTunes. You can find it on YouTube. You can find it on SoundCloud and on Spotify. And so it would just be awesome to have you guys to come along to the journey of Zion the Voice and what God is doing through me and the ministry. Because at the end of the day, I just want, my ministry is for women, and really just to empower you, to let you know that you can make it through absolutely anything. If I did it, you can do it. So.
All right. So what we finna do right now is take a little pause. I'm gonna try something in here. This about to be what, 30 seconds? All right. We'll be right back at you.
All right.
Yo, it's your boy K4. Did you know that the average adult listens to about 4 hours of radio communication a week? With some of the best DJs and talk show hosts in the country, let Red Ink Radio Live be your choice for radio. If it ain't Red Ink, it ain't live, baby. But don't take my word for it.
If it ain't Red Ink, it ain't live, baby.
And if it ain't Red Ink Radio,
it ain't live, baby.
Hey.
I want you to know, if it ain't Red Ink, it ain't live, baby.
If it ain't Red Ink, it ain't live, baby.
If it ain't Red Ink, it ain't live, baby.
If it ain't Red Ink, it ain't live, baby.
Listen up. If it ain't Red Ink, then it ain't live, baby.
If it ain't Red Ink, it ain't live, baby.
It ain't Red Ink unless it's live, baby. Brother man.
That wild love child never.
All right. StreamYard is a hater, so it cut off my brother Kevin Satterfield. Shout out to my brother, CEO himself of Red Ink Radio Live. You know, he done graduated your girl once again and loosed me out here into these internet streets. But you know, I will always and forever be a part of the Red Ink Radio Live family.
All right.
Had not Kevin Satterfield heard me on that microphone that one day on somebody else's pantel, I might not have had the Unhinged Radio show today. So y'all already know what it is. I believe that it is the wise servant that comes back and says thank you. So thank you again to my brother, Kevin Satterfield, for opening a door of opportunity that I knew was a God moment. And y'all see 5 years later, I'm supposed to be here. Oh, girl. So yeah, we finna get into some of the more sillier portions of our show. I hope you're ready for the ride, Zion. We have this wonderful, wonderful, wonderful segment called Views from the Petty Pew. That's right, I said views from the Petty Pew. And so I could go ahead and what's going on. You know, we people of God, but we could be petty, okay? So this is our opportunity to get off our chest what it is that might have gotten on our nerves for a few moments over the course of the day, and just, you know, relax, relate, release. Shout out. There it is. We're going to release this real quick with our view from the Petty Pew. Karen, do you want to start today?
Lord, my list might be long. I'm gonna take
we got time for one tonight, Karen.
I'm not really sure where to start. I'm side-eyeing some of our entertainment folks right now.
Girl, we're gonna get into that. Yes.
But you bless me so much, Zion, because you know I really want to chin check some people, and I know we're gonna have more conversations about it. It's like, wait, what? Because I want to support us. I want to support us. But when I'm supporting us, I need you to know. I hate to use the word busy, but I'm an occupied woman. That means I got stuff to do. I done told y'all I got 10 grandkids. I gotta make sure that their parents is treating them right. That's right. I said it. I need to make sure the parents is treating my grandbabies right. And then I come over here and we got some TV. I have to just remind myself that every biopic, every television show, they ain't all for me. So holler for all of y'all who gonna be talking about everything from the church girls to the not ones. I'm sure we'll get there too. I'm side-eyeing everybody today. I probably just need a nap. So I'm going to put that out there. I probably just need a nap. We done talked about that already. But in my view from this Petty Pew, church folk, I need y'all to not be that toxic environment that our sister Zion the Voice was talking about. And that's why I said I could stay here for a while, because we need to know that we need it to be known that for the people who make it to the house, come on, don't make our work out here in the marketplace harder because y'all in there acting a fool. Okay? Get it right. Love on somebody. That's what we supposed to be doing. Yes, we all got opinions. We know you don't like them. They ain't dressed their hair, whatever, all of that. But once upon a time, honey, somebody was able to tell a story about us. But God, our story is a different testimony for this chapter that you now see. All right, I'm going to stop. Go ahead.
I love it.
Who else got something from the Petty Pew? Because they just getting on my nerves.
You got something for the Petty Pew, or you going to let me rock with this, Zion?
I'm gonna let you go ahead and have it. Go ahead.
I got to rock with this because I promise you and I, Karen, have existed on parallel frequencies forever. And I promise you what you just shared was my view from the Petty Pew on tonight, because I'm just, my eyeballs, the sockets and all that is just, my pupils is tired of the things that I see posted on the internet by people who have experienced church hurt and not taking the opportunity to not only get over it, but to get over themselves. Can I talk to the people from the Petty Pew?
Come on, talk to them.
Listen, people who generalize everyone in the church houses and the brick and mortar's behavior by one standout person or 2 or 5 that might be practicing behaviors that go outside of righteous instruction for righteous living. Listen, I need you all to stop it. Please stop and notice what I said. Get over it and get over yourself. Because when you go to the church, a lot of people like to generalize the church and say it's a hospital. I don't necessarily like to call it a hospital because people check in, people check out. People are there for an hour or 2, Some people are there for the long term. So I don't know if I necessarily want to equate a church to a hospital. However, I will tell you that it's a healing station where you can truly find a balm in Gilead if your heart purpose is in the right place when you enter the building. I know a lot of folks like to worship their pastors as if they are demigods themselves, or worship their pastors as if they are some form of earthly idol. And we already know that the Bible tells us not to do that. So for all you folks that keep posting because you saw this one do something, now y'all don't like church folk because of one, stop it, please. Because I promise you, when you have an encounter with someone who has taken up their birthright as walking as the true ecclesia, I promise you, you are going to discover when you have the encounter with that one, you're going to run into a person whose banner over them is truly love. You are going to experience grace. You are going to experience non-judgmental behavior. See, the true ecclesia is going to love you exactly where you are, exactly where you stand, whether you red, yellow, black, or white, whether your skirt is long, loose, or skin tight. We fit love on you because that's the first and greatest commandment, to love. And love is patient, and love is kind, and love is not self-seeking, neither is it easily provoked. Notice that one, love is patient. Ooh, isn't that the first one mentioned in the attributes of love? So let's get it together. We got to learn to be patient in the way we love others. Just because they don't love the way we do, maybe their love just simply needs a little bit of pruning, and you might just be the catalyst that brings the healing in someone else's life. And that's my view from the Petty Pew. You all right over there, Zah?
That's good stuff, Papa. That's good stuff.
Oh, thank you, boo. Thank you, boo. Y'all ready to move right along?
Let's go.
Yeah, we with the let's go right now. So we've
had
our moment.
I had a red cup.
Girl, look, you can get a different color cup and we gonna anoint it red. There you go. What is that? Some geritol?
If you got a bottle,
not the geritol.
I cannot. So we of course here on the Unhinged Radio Show live support all things that allow us to love and be loved. Why? Because we're commanded to do so. So whatever you are doing in whatever corner of the earth, know that if you were doing it in love, there are blessings and anointing connected to it. But listen, if y'all doing it with a stank attitude, we can't help you. Okay, so go get you something we drinking water tonight.
It's a straight Poland Spring, right out the bottle, y'all.
To hydrate, because listen, this will do your body good and your spirit and your soul. When you think about flushing those toxic thoughts out, flushing that stinking thinking that gets in the way to make us think like what God did for us is only on one side. In the words of my 15-year-old granddaughter, she called them elite Christians. Don't be one of them.
Don't.
This ain't just for you. Listen, Zion, I need you to know we got 2 generations, at least 3 generations of side eye, and they will side eye. She'll tell you, oh, I'm one of them elite Christians, that God is only good enough for them, but not for the rest of everybody else. He came to save the world.
Okay?
Not just you. The world. So where we going, Tilted?
I don't know, girl. We got a lot of things to discuss, but we got to take a pause. You watch movies, Zion?
I watch movies.
You be in the house on one of them streaming apps or 3? Because I got like 7 of them. All right. Yeah, so it's time. I got to clear my throat. Hold up.
Uh-oh.
Take it away.
Ready? It's time to point your remote control at the TV screen. Merrily, find something to stream. Yeah, the name of this segment is Merrily Down the Stream. Because, we can get lost for hours upon hours sitting up in the house and we ain't got nothing to do. We can get caught up on the Netflix or the Hulu or the Peacock app. It's all kind of stuff out there that we can get in.
The sponsorships. Keep going. Sorry.
Yes, man. Send them checks, Jesus. Anyway, listen. So this week, I know the world of Christendom, from what I was observing in my timeline, was shutting down on Friday night because we had a movie debut this weekend. What was that movie titled, you ask?
Honk for Jesus.
Honk for Jesus and save your soul.
Oh no. Oh no. Oh no, no.
I'm gonna go ahead and let y'all take this one first.
Listen, I had to watch it 3 times.
No.
Because I'm committed to doing this job well, and I figure when I want to sit, she's giving me the motherboard look over. I'm committed to doing this job well, and when I get up here and I want to talk about something that I have watched over the weekend, I like to make some, commentary based off of me making an informed decision. All right. This movie, notice I said I had to go to it 3 times because it was different than what I expected it to be. We saw the principal actors, very famous, long resumes in both their own right, doing what it is that they do. But the best way for me to describe this, it was a mockumentary.
Okay.
A mockumentary is the word I came to.
I love it. Make up your words.
As you know, Miss Tilted will do what she needs to do to get her point across. But yes, this mockumentary that just took us into the life of a pastor and his wife and what was happening with them after the scandal, and then trying to go back and reopen their church building and ministry. And it was a whole lot of foolishness, they was able to knuck and buck together. In the car, we have the car karaoke scene. That was a little bit enjoyable because, y'all know I like hip hop. But it was a mockumentary that also lended a lot of comedic relief to a lot of truth about what we've kind of witnessed going on in megachurch world. Not only in the African American community, it's in other communities as well, if y'all have been paying attention. But I'm not going to give it a yay, and I'm not going to give it a nay, because the movie was for somebody. As I got to the ending on my 3rd view, I finally understood. And it was just my take that it was the perspective of the wife. And if you paid attention to even how the actress played her part, she told the story through her eyes. Mm-hmm. If you were really paying attention, every single time she flashed that first lady smile, get me back on stage, you could see the depth of confusion. Old girl played her part. Zion, I see you over there nodding. What you got to say, sis?
First of all, baby, let me tell you, this show is a hot mess. Okay, the movie was a hot mess. All right, and so I wanted to call in the usher board number 9, to talk about this and overturning the pastor. Okay, all right. So that's from my perspective. Now, Zion, the voice perspective, it was told from her perspective. So giving her kudos, she was a great actress throughout it. She carried the part. I think the best part of that whole particular movie was the part where she finally broke. When she was in the church and she finally broke, that was I can see that being real. She had talked to some first ladies and things of that nature to really carry out that particular part of the way that she broke in that particular scene. But other than that, I think it was I know that they'll come for me in the comments, but I think it was trash. I think it was trash because it was literally a mockery of church. The way that it was like other movies that I've seen, and so I'm not gonna get in trouble, but like Greenleaf and and
Saints
you know,
and sinners.
yeah, it was like that. But I love the way,
sorry.
I love the way that they talk, that they did shoot the movie through her eyes, and that particular scene, and for her acting in it, I think that she should be nominated for some kind of award. But the actual movie itself, I would never watch it again.
I don't know about that 3 times. I
clearly once while I was on the beach and somebody asked me where the bathroom was, so I had to stop and got involved.
All right, so it like just took maybe 3 tries to get through the whole thing, or did you? Okay, all right, okay, thank you. Full clarification, because child, listen, we gonna have a 21-day fast just for Anyway. Y'all know my tolerance for foolishness is like I could do certain levels of foolishness, but I admit my bias. I'm usually a little bit extra sensitive when it comes to the church shows, because could we get one church show where the people, all right, I know in every church we got everybody. We got the and is it amen or amen? Can we get that part straight?
It depends on where you are in the country.
I had a question of, is it, because I think no matter what, but I just love that part. So I agree with you, Tan. Okay. Before the baptismal, I'm like, is somebody gonna take the baby out of here? Because
no, was she gonna drown him during the baptism? Was my question.
I didn't think she was gonna let him up, and I had thought that's why it was amen or amen, because she wasn't sure whether she wanted the body count to stay 0. So I mean, there were some laughable moments, but I think a lot of it made me just shake my head, because although mockery, there was some accuracy to the stankness, that's what I'm calling it, of some of our church sisters and brothers, as well as the stuckness, because some of us are stuck in the thought of it can only be this way, you can't do that way, we don't care what they're doing over there, versus that embracing people in love. I'm probably not gonna get to the end of this. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you, I am given a movie critic moment from watching about 45 minutes of this, because then I have too many questions. So that's it. The Meredith down the stream. That was the one. But I did enjoy Saints and Sinners. Now listen,
Saints and Sinners was off the chain.
I finished up season 6. That was my Merrily Down the Street. So I kept it in the church house, and we killing people and blowing them up, and Lord, like the church folk. And I know this is us. I need to say it as much as we don't want it to be us. But some of this stuff, it be like, who gonna tell the story that gives a little bit more balance? That's all I'm saying. Everybody, I ain't killed nobody and buried the body. I ain't got no $1 million side bad thing, and I'm sure there are people who do. So that's my conflict. I'm biased to my own self. I know we there, but a lot of me like the rest of these shows where they happily ever after in 45 minutes. Why we can't get that? They got that. That's my whole time.
It kind of stems to what I was talking about in the View from the Petty Pew. This is Jordan Peele, a Jordan Peele production.
Oh, we should have led with that.
The monkey. Y'all didn't see the monkey with the teeth at the beginning?
I did. I forgot that wasn't him, but I started to turn it off because I was like, "What kind of enemy is this?" I'm.
That was me.
I don't be letting everything in my house.
This is
Jordan. In that moment right there, I was like, Jesus, this.
Yeah, that was a shout out to that other movie that we all loved. During that space and time, Get Out. He got to know. That's how you know it's him. You see the monkey with. Anyway, It's always a monkey. Anyway, so that's
I really feel like we need to put Jordan on the prayer list, and if he was on the prayer list, these movies would be looking way different. Y'all just out here letting these people make movies, and y'all ain't even praying for. I blame all the church folk. Y'all
well, see, and that's the deal. Had he not had that vantage point as a little kid, coming up in church and running through so many different church houses, how else do you think he would have got the thought to even create a movie?
That was definitely a view from the Petty Pew. He definitely was in
Petty in production is what he did. Yes, that's the Petty Pew production. That's the standard right there. He got extra petty in highlighting a lot of unfortunate behaviors that are on display in, again, many mega church house across the world, not only here in America. And y'all know your girl here, I'm not a fan of a whole lot of opulence in the church house, because I personally believe that it gives the young ones coming up the wrong idea about what it looks like to be blessed by God. And that was another thing that, he used as a sermon. Don't I look like I've been favoring God? Mm-hmm. And then he began to reference his suit that cost thousands of dollars. And he's the pastor with the beautiful wife and the beautiful Bugatti. And he began to glorify things as opposed to giving God glory through the office that he was standing in as pastor of a church responsible for shepherding so many different souls. So, I think this is a movie that is bringing another necessary conversation to the forefront. If we wasn't giving these people this perspective, they couldn't write these things.
Well. On a lighter note, I was streaming on something else.
What was you streaming on, girl?
I really wasn't streaming on that. Well, I had finished the Saints and Sinners, and then I went over there, to the Disney Plus, send a check, to watch She-Hulk.
Okay, I didn't get to that one yet.
I got my episodes, and honestly, for those of you who don't know, I'm a Marvel fan all day long. So superheroes are my stick. I love it. I love the thought of a She-Hulk, and they doing some okay writing over there. Keeping with some of the storylines and sharing some things, and I have enjoyed it thus far. That's all I can say for that. So I think I'm 3 episodes in that, they released them little by little. So for those of you who want to binge all the way through, just hold on out, because they only got 3. But if you want to see a little bit about what it was, and I had missed the first 5 minutes and missed how the person became the Hulk, and I got all indignant, like, wait a minute, this ain't even how that worked. What? So then I had to go back and watch, because I thought they were trying to say like the Hulk was hereditary, and Bruce Banner, we already know from Friday nights back in the day with the green eye.
With your TV.
That part. Okay. With the cousins all in one house, because the aunties, okay, never mind.
So check it out. I also got into a couple of the streaming apps this weekend, and I actually have been watching the Black Hamptons. Carl Weber's production, his new show that has debuted on BET Plus, since I had found out that they not renewing Our Kind of People. Because I was waiting for that show to come back, and I, started to do my research, because I figured it was about time for that cast to make it back to the screen. Well, unfortunately, that show has been canceled. And Tyler Perry, thank you, and Carl Weber, thank you for bringing me to Black Hamptons. It's something else to, allow me to see a little bit more of Black excellence and that beautiful Lamont Rucker on screen. Praise God. Ugh. Anyway, it's a wonderful show about Black people with old family wealth and newfound wealth that was gained by their own gifts and intelligence, and how the families are actually at war with each other, so to speak, and just trying to maintain full dominance and control in their piece of the Hamptons. It's a beautiful cast. So many people to name. that we are all familiar with. And if y'all are paying those BET Plus dollars, I promise you, my subscription dollars are going to work every single month, because I do find a lot of different things to enjoy on that app every month. So, hey, if you're interested, check it out. Check out anything we discussed if you haven't already. And of course, we always want to hear from you all, since we're now engaging with you all live. Y'all got some suggestions, something like y'all think I might want to see? I like them dragons too. The House of the Dragons them came back. They done gave us another part of Game of Thrones. And I'm just going to refer to them as the people with the dragons, or the people with the white hair. Y'all know who I'm talking about when I'm talking about that show. All right, the House of the Dragons is out. We 3 episodes deep. And let me tell you, you got to be a boss king if you got a stable of dragons to just take out a kingdom whenever you just go, ooh, ooh, whatever it is that they do to do the dragon call, to get the dragon to come up out the cave. House of the Dragons, excellent watch if you are a fan of Game of Thrones. They done brought us something else, y'all. We can find out about the House of Targaryen. Come on in the room with Keita. Let's talk about it, all right? So, yeah, I'm just going to go ahead and use this opportunity to go ahead and segue, because I know our illustrious guest has got to dip out on us soon, because she got to go and use her gifts in yet another place. But I just want to make sure you are able to engage in this piece of the conversation. So I'm going to start it off because there's so much that we could talk about, man. We done talked about this show, this movie, Honk for Jesus, and Save Your Soul. What's really going on? I gotta start with it, because I promise you I wanted to set it off when we were guesting. Hi, Tan, when we was on the show with y'all last week. Can we talk about this whole conversation about Beyonce and her song Church Girl, and the uproar that the bishop has caused in the Church of God in Christ behind the lyrics of the song? Now, y'all know I listen to music, okay? And I'm a fan of Beyonce from back in the Destiny's Child days. So if y'all think me no longer anointed and appointed because I like Beyonce's music, then so be it. I'm not part of the crowd that's going to condemn her to hell, because I do not know the nature of her relationship with God, all right? Let me just put that out there right now. But let's talk about this song, Church Girl. Y'all know I'm a fan of taking long rides and listening to stuff to break it down again, so I can make my own informed decision when I deliver these commentaries in these internet streets. And I took the time to listen to this song. And then I had to call our good girlfriend, Natural D. Hey, D, I had to call her for a little counseling, because I wanted to make sure that I wasn't selling my soul, because I actually liked the song. Why did I like the song? Because that song sounded like a whole lot of church girls that I grew up with, namely me. Yeah, I'm gonna talk about myself. Y'all know I have no problem talking about what the Lord has delivered me from. And I used to club from Thursday to Sunday, but I promise you I was an active member of the youth choir. I was an active member of the usher board. But I promise you, even to this day, y'all already know what it is. Come to the church cookout, and I am out there cutting up all the rugs with my dancing shoes. I love to dance. And again, song was about me and a whole bunch of other church girls I know. Now, some of us were not in the club, trying to get a man. Some of us were. But I believe that every person should be given the opportunity to outgrow themselves. And if the truth of the matter is, they started raising sand because she sampled Twinkie Clark's song at the beginning of it. Now, again, I wasn't paying it no mind except for the A&R director. What's his name? Bishop Wooten? Is that him?
A&R director. Exactly.
A&R director. Bishop Wooten made me throw that thing in there and really dissect the lyrics of the song. And I promise you, she sampled Twinkie Clark. Y'all know who that song was really about? What's her sister, Denise? That's who I believe that song was really about. Because think about it. If we all saw the Clark sisters biopic that was on Lifetime, we saw how Denise was all anointed and riffing and running with Karen and her sisters. But at the end of every show, whenever she got the chance, she would go and get gussied up and put them things on stand and go out and shake her thing, because she was living such a restrained life, being the daughter of the aficionado, the late, great Dr. Mattie Moss Clark. But let me get up off of this. Zion, do you have anything to add to this?
Unfortunately, I don't, because I didn't listen to Church Girls. And then even in the comments when he was talking about how he felt some kind of way while he was preaching his sermon on Beyonce sampling it, so I really don't have any commentary on this particular part. But it's interesting to listen to other people's views on what they feel about it. So
yeah, I'm with you, girl.
Don't worry, I got enough, Zion. I got you. I got enough.
Thank you for having my
got enough. So here's one perspective that Beyonce is not a Christian artist. We're gonna put that out there. I know that's a shocker to everybody. Yes, she know the Lord. Her and Kelly and Michelle and them done sang Amazing Grace and Precious Lord and all those other things. When it comes to the music industry, and I think one of the things that we talked about earlier is there is a lack of control when you get into certain echelons of music, and that means that anybody could sample your song. When you sign over the paper and say, I'm going to sample this particular thing, don't nobody come back to you and say, are you okay with this? Are you happy with what is going to go on there? Now, the thing that came to mind, because I kept thinking about, there's a song that Jasmine Sullivan does, and y'all know she got her record Hotels. That's what she named it. This wasn't me. Okay, that part. One of the songs has Maxine Waters' voice on it. And I call her Auntie Maxine. And the whole thing is talking about reclaiming my time. But in that song, they not talking about the same thing. So her voice is used as part of a song that is part of popular culture. And my question kept being, did anybody tell Auntie Maxine why she was reclaiming her time? Because the lyrics in that song have to do with a situation with a gentleman that is like, I wasted my time because of explicit things. And then you wonder, do the people know how their music is going to be used? Now, nobody would know how Beyonce was going to be using this music. She's done gospel songs before. We done fell out over her voice before. As with other artists that we think about, where we like, oh, they could do a gospel record, whether it's Tasia, Beyonce, whoever it is. But we have to understand that what comes out is different because, one, their audience and market usually is a little bit different. There's also a difference in what's their bottom line and who are they working with. So when we thinking about what doors and a blessing for doors to be closed, some of this stuff is a educational piece for me. Now, y'all knew I was coming with it. For us to know that if you allow your music to be sampled, see, we talked about going to see Prince. If this was Prince's music, we would not be having these conversations because he's not playing that. Why? Because he understood that once you sign away and say, hey, you could use this, there's nothing else you can do about that. So even though we feel a certain way, or whether, I see this song similar to as I'm looking at Honk for Jesus, okay? Whether you consider it mockery or whether you consider that there is some truth underneath the surface. I think that's the thing that's bothering folks, because for those of us who have gotten through our get through, we sometimes want to forget what we've been through. And that's a dangerous place for us to be, because there'll be somebody who's in that club right now. She talking about the ones that's in the club right now. But you know who was holding up them spots before? Yeah, it was some of us. And now that we've been delivered, we are at a place where we believe that we better than. Now, this ain't everybody's testimony. You wasn't in the club, you wasn't doing all that. Some of the lyrics are very raunchy. Some of the words that are used, well, ain't none of it church-like, so just go ahead. But my challenge is this. I didn't listen to the song until the pastor of the A&R started complaining about it. And I was like, am I missing something? Because I don't really listen to any one type of music all that much to be like, okay, I'm honed into a whole album. Honey, I ain't listen to a whole album. I got Sound of Music and the Wiz. Okay, them is the albums that I've listened to in entirety. Everybody else, y'all getting like 15 minutes, and I don't know what to tell you on that one. And Black Violins, I got their whole album too, but that's a whole nother story. We gonna feel the way that we want to feel. Just be mindful that there is a beauty in grace and understanding that this music is going to reach somebody, and if y'all out there acting a fool, you will repel people from wanting to get their life right in the face of, I want to be delivered from that lifestyle. Like we did it. Some of y'all might be in it right now. My knees messed up now from half that stuff, but that's a whole nother story. So now I get to sit a little bit more ladylike. Why? Because my knees ain't having it right now.
We ain't even gonna try it at this stage.
We not.
Ain't gonna be no dropping it like a thotty.
Call 911. If I drop it, it ain't coming back up. If I drop it, it ain't coming back up tilted. So have the usher board on the dance floor, because somebody gonna need to come get me.
Pretty much, one of my young boys has already nicknamed me AARP recently. So it's all good. We know our limits, and thank God he brought me up out the club years ago. And now, again, you want a line dance instructor? Call me, I got you. Because dancing is truly great exercise, and it
is.
That song, we're praying for all those church girls that are in their development process, for the ones referenced in some of those lyrics. People don't see what happens before they get on the stage to serve in church, and they don't see what happens with some of these young women after that music stops, and then they feel like they're pressed into a dual lifestyle because they are trying to please man and please God without knowing themselves. So we're praying for those young women that they will become that much more diligent and seeking the fullness of their purpose as they continue to attend church fellowship services. And hopefully in those fellowships, they're again greeted with a whole lot of love, patience, and understanding. Because as you said, Sister Queen, we forget our process. And y'all already know it's on my Facebook page. Revelation 12:11 is what's up for me. We overcome the adversary by the blood of the Lamb and the word of our testimony. I'm so free in sharing my testimony because I have been delivered. Yeah, and I'm saying it just like old boy. I've been delivered from a lot of things, and my deliverance only came when I became naked and unashamed in my conversations back and forth with God. Even legitimately praying while I'm in the heart of the party, getting it all the way in, receiving my exit date while on the dance floor. I've had that experience, and thank God he brought me out so that I could give my young ladies, hey girl, you may not want to do that. Ain't nothing in the club but trouble. And then I could tell them my why and not just go off of what I assumed. I'm coming from experience over here. To save one life at a time. So, moving right along. Okay, we got this other one here because this is a trigger. This is a trigger. If y'all saw this trigger get pulled this weekend, we saw it busting out in the headlines all over. Or maybe it's just me because I read just about everything come through my phone to see if it's conversation. We got a show to produce. Yeah, we see that Tiffany Haddish and Aries Spears have now been hit with a lawsuit because, and they both, it's been alleged, and they've both been accused of grooming a young brother and sister, and what they did in producing a skit, a video, titled "Through the Eyes of a Pedophile," I believe it is. Did y'all hear about that, or is it just me?
No, I heard about it.
I heard that was it.
And I saw it. And
you saw it?
Yeah, I was disturbed.
You would talk to me, Zion. You was disturbed too?
Yes, I was definitely disturbed. Because it almost comes across like, I think I was having this conversation with somebody earlier. As kids, in my generation, we were introduced to pornography through subtle ways in entertainment. And then later on, the next generation was introduced subtly to homosexuality. And then it became blatant. And then now it's becoming more prevalent to introduce people to child pornography. And so that's what that really came across as, child pornography, because what's done in the dark is now coming to the light. And so we've already had all these, entertainments that have child rings of sex trafficking and things like that. So now if we just make it where it's normalized, then we won't get persecuted for having all these child sex trafficking rings, because it's become normalized. We won't have the pressure because of homosexuality. Will make it where it's like normalized. So when people talk about it or talk against it, I mean, you looked at as the enemy. And so that's where we're headed with this whole thing. Is if I normalize it, then those that talk about it are what? The haters of the truth. Because the truth is that it's good for the goose. And it's time out. It's like, it's really just time. I'm sorry, you asked me one question, but I'm going. It's really just time.
Sis. Talk about it.
It's just really time for us as creators and entertainers to raise up and really just put some material out there that brings us back into wholesomeness and to family and things like that. Things that God is concerned about. Because that right there, I wanted to take my phone and literally just throw it, because it was just sick. Like, whoever put that skit together, sick, a sick mind.
Very sickening, extremely sickening. And I love that you brought into the conversation that we're being groomed, so to speak. And a lot of these things that have been brought to the forefront are normalizing certain behaviors. And you talked about how we were exposed to child pornography as children, and then there were levels of different things outside of normalcy that have been introduced to us. I had the thought as you were talking, it's interesting. Anybody ever play hide and go get it?
Molestation at its
best. Right before that church girl, that part.
Hey, this all ties in, and I'm grateful that we're able to have this conversation tonight, because I had said to y'all, somebody had challenged me years ago because of my own personal testimony, to have the conversations about the amount of sexual activity and molestation in particular that goes on in the church. It's very real, and yes, I brought up hide and go get it, because how many games of hide and go get it were being played while mama and grandma and them were in prayer meeting, and they didn't know that little Jeff or little Jackie was being taken off into some dark corner of the church where they couldn't be seen, and just being terrorized, having their innocence taken away from them right there in church. So what is it that we're doing here is my question at this point. I love that you are absolutely highlighting it, Zion, that so many creatives in this present day and age need to take up the standard again, because so many have laid it down for secular fame, in the pursuit of their own success or happiness, whatever they might want to label it. What is our responsibility in this? Grateful for you, Zion, bringing out the positive, holy, righteous, with a whole lot of swag to it. You know what I'm saying? So that the young folks can engage, so that it'll keep their ear. Karen, you want to add to this conversation?
You know, I'll add, and it's something that we used to be more vigilant about, and we used to have more control over. Unfortunately, with the internet and technology being used by kids who are younger and younger, some of the challenges that the hypersexual activity that happens is happening even at an earlier age. And so we do have to be vigilant as parents, as grandparents, as aunties and sisters and friends and uncles to make sure that we are equipping our young people, our young minds on what should be normal and what shouldn't be normal. And I think a lot of this is, you know, this is going to get folks in hot water. And then 3 years from now, okay, not 3 years, by the holidays, we'll be talking about somebody else. And this will have been swept under the rug, and we won't be thinking about this. And there'll be a child trafficking something. There'll be images that our children have ingested without explanation on what do I now do with what I saw? What do I do with these feelings that came up from that? And that starts a lifelong area of craziness, because we normally are not talking about what happens when, you know, catch a girl, get a girl, all of those type of things that we grew up with. And maybe we were 10 or 11, and now these kids are 5 and 6, like, and we're thinking that we can wait on it. But if you watch the movies, if you see what's being presented to them, one, this is not the only thing that was a surprise for me, if I could call it that, was the people who were involved. Because in your mind, you would think, come on, Tiff, you know better than this. Like, come on, Aries, like but the challenge is that a lot of these artists that come out are not creating new stories. They're revealing their personal testimonies on either what they've walked through or what other people have walked through. And it's not an excuse at all. But until we confront what demons are behind the pen, because there's angels behind the pen as well as the demons, until that is confronted, we have to make sure that we've got to be even more diligent on the side. I done told you when I saw that monkey paw, I'm like, what? Oh, I should have known. I know better. But then you guard your spirit, because you're like, this ain't, whatever this is after this, that's my warning that this might not be right. And so if I proceed, honestly, after that, I was done. So they could have had a good show, but I was already in my prayer mode, because what wasn't going to happen was foolishness. So prayers for everybody involved. That sounds like a thing that us Christian folks just say, but we really got to do it. We got to be praying for not only Tiffany and Aries, but to also pray for these children that were involved. I didn't watch anything because I'm the rollout Mimi / grandmother. Okay, never mind. I plead the fifth. But we gotta protect our babies, and by protecting our babies, that means if you internet auntie, if you could, I promise you, for many a times I done slid into somebody's parents' DM and said, you know, your kid is connected to my kid. Go check their page, please, because they causing havoc over here in my house. Because I promise you, my kids will tell the story how they got put on punishment for what somebody else did. Because I'm gonna punish you before you do it, just in case you think it's a good idea. Let me tell you the consequence. Okay, that part. They all grown now. They done made it, Zion. They all grown. They made it out.
They getting their own checks.
They doing it, but they got on punishment so that when they went to school the next day, they had that. Like, let me tell you something. I got in trouble for you. And they would convict them children because the parents weren't doing it. But I'm good for that. You're going to get popped. Why? Because they was over there acting up. Don't try it. We call that preventive maintenance at my house.
Well, look, I don't know. And I think, you know, this is going to be a conversation that can continue to roll from session to session here at the Unhinged Radio Show live. Because, you know, Miss Nikita love the kids. Tilted Halo love the kids now. And it's many children who are now adults that will tell you at least one story about how I went to the mats for them, so to speak, to make sure that what they carried was protected. Because I know what it is to be that little chocolate girl in the room that felt so lost and unprotected. So again, it's my endeavor to be the change that I would like to see. So with that being said, we're rolling swiftly towards the end of the show, but we want to wrap it up the way we always do. We gotta make sure we give y'all some nuggets to carry you through. And I hope you got a pen and a piece of paper, because you know that there is usually an assignment after we receive another reflection of purpose by our very own in-house master life coach, our very own Karen Ann Sims of Twisted Threads. Take it away, sis.
You know, I'm just keeping in line with what we've talked about already. For those of you who know, our reflections of purpose always have a title, and today it is the blessing of the closed door. And a lot of us focus on, Lord, is this my door? Is this my door? Is this the way that I'm supposed to go? What am I supposed to do? Or we focus on a moment of defeat from not being able to walk through an open door. But we want to be focused on the blessing that God gives us in a closed door. Because here's what happens when there's a closed door. Honey, if you've ever heard us talk about the praise in the hallway and understanding what that hallway praise will activate, even if it wasn't a door there for you, God will create a door that's been activated by the praise that you do in the hallway. That praise in the hallway gives you an opportunity to be grateful for your current position. Because a lot of times, especially with our creatives, we talked about you got a lot of things and you're focused on, Lord, what's the next thing you want me to do? Oh, wait, I'm barely finished with this progress, a WIP, works in progress. How many of them you got because you waiting on the open door, but then you lose focus on what the blessing of the closed door is? See, the blessing of the closed door is this. You get to write down a budget. The blessing of a closed door is this. You get to write that vision and make it plain. Why? Because when you get tired, you get to run. All of the scriptures that remind us of that. The blessing of the closed door, honey, you get to take a nap. You get to rest. You get to focus on some self-care and say, Lord, I know this next season, it's about to be on and popping. But in this season that I'm in, where I see your hand saying, just wait, just wait. I got you, daughter. I got you, son. The next time that we open this curtain, it's going to be Act 2 and it's going to blow people's minds. But when we understand the blessing that is in the closed door, we also get to understand God's protection, his enlightenment, and the importance of relationship. Because when you see that closed door, you'll think that God ain't got something special for you. But when you understand the blessing of the closed door, honey, I'm getting excited just for the closed doors that's in my life right now. Because, you know, back in the day, who was that? Richard Pryor, and he had that movie, Bustin' Loose. Honey, when that door opened, listen. So here's the homework. Praise God for the closed door. Understand the current opportunity that is faced before you. But honey, get cute. Put on your makeup, your lashes, your flowers, do everything. Because when that door comes open, you got to be ready. So you know a line I say all the time, we stay ready so we ain't got to get ready. Because we don't know the day or the hour when God says, this is your time if you're not listening. Now, for those of us who actually have a prayer life and a relationship, he done told you what's coming around the corner. You just got to be patient. And some of y'all, us, we need to work on that patience and that gentleness and kindness in the closed door. There's a blessing in the closed door. Recognize it, appreciate it, and understand that there's more right around the corner. You better act like it's coming in the morning. You better act like tomorrow when you go to work, the promotion is coming. Why? Because as you declare that thing, come on, it manifests within your spirit. And then God allows and creates the opportunity for what it is that you said, that faith of a mustard seed. Listen, get ready. What? Get your red cups, because it's about to be a party. Soon as
whole
that
turn up.
the blessing of the closed door. I like the white cup matter. You know, you're gonna have to draw something on it.
White cups matter. I'm here for all of it, Karen, and I'm grateful for every single door that God allowed to slam in my face, especially the ones that was here, and I kind of felt it. Thankfully, they didn't leave no scar that required cocoa butter. So again, I want to thank those of you who've just stayed with us throughout the duration of tonight's broadcast. Thank you again for tuning in to the Unhinged Radio Show Live. I'm your host, Tilted Halo, also known as your girl, Keita, sitting alongside my good girlfriend, Karen Sims. I want to go ahead and say thank you once again to our guest for this evening, the masterful Zion the Voice. Y'all gonna see her more often, I promise you. I promise you, she family. All right? So y'all know what it is. I'm about to shut down the show with what I always say, just be. But tonight, I'm going to encourage you to just be dope with your dope self. You know how a doctor will tell you to take some Tums to deal with that heartburn, or the doctor might prescribe you some valsartan to regulate your blood pressure. Check it out. You are carrying something that is so dope that only you can administer it to, and the receiver, I promise you, you will be an absolute breath of fresh air and a game changer in their world if you choose to be your authentically dope self. Just be dope, y'all. It's your girl, Tilted Halo, Karen Sims, Twisted Threads, Zion the Voice, and we out.